U.S. intelligence found that the blast at the Ali Arab Hospital in the Gaza Strip last week resulted from a rocket malfunction. CNN on October 25th detailed the cause of the explosion, affirming that Israel was not involved. The U.S. intelligence's conclusion aligns with the facts reported by CNN and is in line with the U.S. government's briefing to Congress. However, U.S. intelligence has furnished a finer-grained explanation of the incident to emphatically establish that Israel was not the perpetrator behind the hospital explosion. According to them, two primary pieces of evidence buttress their conclusion. Firstly, the images of the explosion site depict damage consistent with a rocket, not a missile from Israel. In addition, video analysis from 4 different locations traced the rocket's trajectory, which intelligence was able to determine through shadow comparison within the hospital compound and surrounding structures. The cameras recorded the rocket's flight, and subsequent video analysis allowed the team to pinpoint the launch location. Based on this evidence, it was inferred that the rocket originated from within the Gaza Strip and moved northeast approximately 10 seconds after being launched. The rocket's engine became unstable, evident in the intensity of the smoke plume that 5 seconds later. An ignition flash followed 5 seconds after that, with an object plummeting to the ground 2 seconds later. The first object was likely the rocket's engine, with the second being the warhead. A U.S. intelligence official elaborated that this sequence of events and the rocket's launch location facilitated the conclusion of an engine malfunction, resulting in the warhead's separation and subsequent larger explosion at the hospital site. Many thanks. Now let's delve into the escalating Israel-Hamas conflict in the Gaza Strip. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has disclosed that the Israeli Defense Forces are readying for a ground attack on the Gaza Strip. However, the exact timing remains concealed. Inhabitants of the Gaza Strip have been advised to take necessary supplies to safe shelters. Israel also foresees a barrage of heavy missiles into southern Israel on the night of October 25th. In a live TV address, Prime Minister Netanyahu reaffirmed a strong commitment to secure the release of hostages held by Hamas, emphasizing readiness for a ground assault to dismantle Hamas's military and leadership capabilities. Furthermore, Israel has declared a national day of mourning for the victims of recent terrorist attacks. We are in the midst of a battle for our existence. Our goals are twofold: the obliteration of Hamas and the return of our hostages. We are systematically weakening Hamas, and this is just the start. We are preparing for a ground operation, and the timing will be decided by the Security Cabinet, Chief of Staff, and Inner Cabinet. We are striving to provide optimal conditions for our military. I urge our citizens to move south of the Gaza Strip. Since the start of the war, we have formed 600 new volunteer protection units. We plan to augment these forces. We encourage citizens to carry personal weapons for self-defense. While the world continues to grapple with the escalating conflict in Gaza, there are flickers of hope and humanity amid the chaos. A conversation between Angela Merkel, Germany's chancellor, and the president of the United Arab Emirates took an encouraging turn. Merkel, echoing the sentiments of many world leaders, stressed Israel's inherent right to self-defense. However, she also laid emphasis on the poignant truth that all lives carry the same worth. The city of Berlin, she affirmed, will persist in its efforts to safeguard civilians, extending a helping hand to the people of Gaza in terms of resources and humanitarian aid. Parallelly, the UK has begun contemplating a potential cessation of hostilities to aid the delivery of much-needed humanitarian aid. Rishi Sunak, spokesperson for the UK Prime Minister, clarified that while a broad-spectrum ceasefire is not a preferred strategy for the UK, as it could potentially favor Hamas, they are open to exploring other alternatives. Echoing this sentiment, the United States, Russia, and the global community have also voiced their support for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, with the goal of expediting humanitarian relief to Gaza. Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, has made a heartfelt plea for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire. The tragic saga of conflict between Israel and Hamas has been ongoing for nearly 3 weeks, following an attack from Hamas on October 7th. Israel's robust response consisted of extensive airstrikes, leading to a heartbreaking toll of over 6,500 Palestinian casualties, as reported by the Palestinian Ministry of Health. On October 24th, the Israeli Defense Forces revealed that they had successfully neutralized over 400 targets associated with Hamas in Gaza. They had also made use of seismic or earthquake bombs to disable underground Hamas establishments. Concurrently, they retaliated to missile launches from Syria by targeting Hamas's military strongholds there. The situation continues to evolve, with large-scale attacks persisting between Israel and Hamas in Gaza and the West Bank of Palestine. Amidst the wreckage and rubble, it's a grim reminder of humanity's capacity for destruction. However, international relief agencies voicing concerns about an impending humanitarian catastrophe serve as a beacon of hope and resilience in these trying times. The United Nations has urgently implored Israel and Hamas to make way for the swift and unobstructed delivery of humanitarian aid to Gaza. They underscored the pressing need of the Palestinian people for 20-fold more humanitarian supplies than what is currently being provided. The UN Secretary-General fervently appealed for civilian safety and voiced grave disquiet over serious breaches of international humanitarian law in Gaza. The situation remains tense, with the conflict progressively intensifying as both sides continue missile launches, with no immediate signs of de-escalation. On October 24, the Israeli Defense Forces revealed that over 400 Hamas targets in Gaza had been obliterated. In a drastic move, Israel has utilized earthquake bombs to annihilate Hamas's subterranean facilities. They also aimed at Hamas's military infrastructure and missile launch sites in Syria, in retaliation to missile launches aimed at Israel. On October 25, AFP reported that Israel had pinpointed 2 missile launches from Syria, with the projectiles landing close to Israeli territories. Syrian state media reported that Israeli assaults on October 22 had led to the closure of 2 primary airports in Damascus and Aleppo. This incident marks the second occasion these sites have been targeted since the Hamas-Israel conflict broke out. Also, full-scale assaults between Israel and Hamas are relentless in Gaza and the West Bank of Palestine, leading to numerous fatalities. Israel has been fixated on undermining Hamas's military prowess and leadership, while Hamas has announced possession of 35 fully equipped drones in Gaza, primed for any standoff with the Israeli military, even in scenarios involving US and European support. The West Bank of Palestine is also in the throes of ceaseless conflicts as international aid agencies sound the alarm of an impending humanitarian disaster in Gaza, one of the most overcrowded regions on the planet. The United Nations has once again urgently appealed to Israel and Hamas to pave the way for the rapid and uninterrupted delivery of humanitarian aid to Gaza. They reiterated the critical need of the Palestinian people for 20-fold more humanitarian supplies than what is presently being supplied. The UN Secretary-General fervently appealed for civilian safety and expressed deep concerns about grave violations of international humanitarian law in Gaza.